And now for part two.
Growing apart, growing individually while growing the marriage. Because
Mhm.
it's not just, it is two other things that come out of that are to me, when you have space to do that, you're accountable for doing it.
Mhm.
'Cause there's no sense in me not growing when my wife is not nagging me, hounding me, talking about I need you to be here. I got to go to the library and study because I'm trying to get this doctorate here. And likewise, same thing with so that there's accountability there that says, not you have permission to do it, but you also have accountability for getting it done because you got to grow
Yeah.
because we got to grow this marriage. And then when you have offspring, then they're watching that. Our children
Yeah.
grew up while we were going through graduate school in multiple programs. So they don't know anything other than seeing us with books and highlighters and
Yeah.
library in the house and all this stuff going on the whole of their lives. Well, now we did that in our 30s, going into our 40s. Well,
Mhm.
now they're in their 20s, going into their 30s, applying for PhD
Hmm.
programs, doing their second masters, do all kinds of stuff like that because that's the environment that we cultivated for them. Well, not for them. That's the environment that we cultivated. A
Hmm.
wise woman said to us, I used to preach revival at Oak Grove Free Will Baptist Church in Durham, North Carolina, the late Reverend Z.D. Harris. And one of his associate ministers, Minister Vera Thompson, said to me one thing that I've not forgotten, and this is years ago before we ever had any kids or anything. When we got pregnant with our first son, um, she said, you integrate children into your existing life. You don't build your life around your children. Because one of these
That's
days,
good.
your
Yep.
children are not going to be
Like,
there.
bye bye. And then
We integrate,
it's gonna be y'all two left.
and I'm not trying to reinvent a life. I want them to
Right.
be a part of the life that we cultivate,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
we'll give them a good starting point to be able to cultivate their own lives. And we're
Yes.
in a season now where we are empty nesters, but we've got that revolving door where it's fluid. The dynamism is
Yeah.
fluid. They're flowing in and out of our lives in a multiplicity of ways as young adults, all of them under 30, and now with
Hmm.
a grandson. And so
Hmm.
that dynamic, our son and his wife have our only grandchild. And so that fluid dynamism of them being in our lives and not being in our lives in close proximity and then in their own space and lives, I think that is has been built upon the platform of how we've cultivated a vision for human flourishing, for Alvarado
Hmm.
flourishing. What does it look
Yeah.
like for us to have flourished beyond where my parents dropped us off, where her parents dropped her off, and then
Hmm.
now our children, where we're going to drop them off?
And I'll
Yeah.
say one other thing in strategy is forgiveness,
Yeah, yeah,
because there are going to be so many opportunities there. Every day we have an opportunity to forgive one another
That's true.
because we are human. We're going to make mistakes. We hurt one another. We may say something the wrong way, do something that violates our covenant or whatever. And we have to wake up. We have to decide, even before my husband offends me, I have to decide that I love him enough to walk in forgiveness. Now, that doesn't mean being a doormat or letting
right.
someone misuse you or abuse you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about,
Yes.
but I'm talking about just human error, human mistakes that we make, things that happen that sometimes we have to walk in forgiveness. And sometimes couples who can't forgive one another, who can't come and reason together, can't
Right.
hear one another, counsel with somebody to help you hear one another. Though since we've gone to marriage counseling, he talked to you about some of the couples that we have been that have mentored us. Even
Mhm.
in we want to talk about ministry and things. Sometimes the way I see things at the church is not the same way he sees it, or the way he sees it is, you know what I'm saying? And we've had to have conversations to help us hear each other as leaders, because we're both very type A and very strong leaders in our own right. right? And
Mhm.
so that can be a point of contention at times. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so we have to walk in forgiveness. We got to be able to be mature, to hear
Mhm.
one another, work on our stuff, and keep it moving.
That's good. So this actually is a good segue to my next question that I have for you all, especially for couples out there, the new couples or newly married couples, those who have been married for years and they may be in a place where now they're kind of stagnated. So you all have been married 30 plus years. You've been together 37 years. What advice can you all offer to keep the romance alive and to keep that fire burning within your marriage? And part two of that question is, what are some of the intentional practices that couples can incorporate into their marriage to keep that fire there or to even reignite that fire for some people?
Yeah, the Bible says that where lawlessness prevails, the love of many waxes cold. So you want to keep the fire, keep the rules.
And every
People,
marriage has rules, and
exactly,
every rule, you have to decide what those rules are for you. The rules of engagement.
right.
Mhm.
So part of what keeps marital couples engaged in that way is maintaining the rules, maintaining. People always talk about Jesus came to establish a relationship, not a religion. The devil is a lie. He came to establish a religion
Mhm.
because the religion
Mhm.
is what maintains the relationship. I religiously come home at a decent hour.
Mm.
I religiously pay the bills. These are the
Yes.
things I do in a regimented way because those are the rules of our household. That if
Yes.
I violate, I religiously keep myself to one woman. If I violate those rules, her love will wax cold. It
Yeah.
won't turn off like a spigot, but little by little, by little by little, her love for me will wax cold. So you got to keep the rules. Second thing for me is
Mhm.
when I'm thinking about, romance and the keeping the fire burning, all that. Listen, the longer you stay married, that fire is a moving target.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? We don't love like we did at 27 and 30 when we married. Because we're different. I
Mhm.
didn't have diabetes then. Part of my love language now is getting up out of bed and working out because I know that makes her feel more secure about my life and longevity and the like.
Yeah,
And
because
so
we married in
that's
our 20s. Well, I was 30 when we got married. I had just turned 30 that year that
mhm,
we got married. And then he was 27. So he was in his late 20s. I was just entering into my 30s. And now we're in our 60s. Well, he'll be
Mhm.
60 this year and
I'll
I'm
be 60 in December.
62. So we have aged together. We're aging. We're growing old together. I didn't have gray hair when we got married.
Yeah.
And
Nor
my
did
hair
I.
is almost completely gray now. You know what I'm saying? And so
Mhm.
it's what romance looks like for us today may not be what it looked like for us. Well, it's not what it looked like for us when we first got married.
Mhm.
And so sometimes for me, romance is just leaning over in the middle of the night and knowing that he's there, right? Um, so I think that you and your spouse need to work that out in terms of what that looks like for you all. But the
Mhm.
other thing is the the things that we intentionally do together
Yeah,
to secure one another, all those things. Because when I hear flame, if any flame eventually will die out, all flames do, right? They die out. But what happens, what you have to do is stoke the fires of the flame.
that's
And
right.
so if that's if that's for some people, it's date nights. For some people, it's you know the conversations, text messaging each other during the day, whatever.
Mhm.
It can change. It's no one way.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say that, like, what would you tell couples to do? I would just say be intentional about your relationship with your spouse,
Yeah.
right? Make sure that you're paying attention to yourself and to your spouse. Pay
Right.
attention. to your spouse. Make sure that, check in with each other, see how one another is feeling or doing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just,
Yes.
We
I just think,
concretize with words. I
mhm,
think words are extremely important, even for people that say that, words of affirmation are not one of their love languages. They still want to hear, I love you.
Oh yeah.
They still want to hear, I'll be
yeah,
home shortly.
yeah,
They still want a phone call. Don't come walking in the house with a bag of Kentucky Fried Chicken and you didn't call home and say, if you want something to eat.
right.
That's
Or you know your husband come home and you just act like he another piece of furniture. You don't speak, you on the phone with your girlfriends, or you doing whatever, or sometimes I could be scrolling or whatever, because I'm a content creator, so I'll be posting my videos or whatever, and Bishop will come in and want to talk to me about something, right? And then he'll just stand and go, I'll just wait till you get done, and then that's my cue that, oh, I need to pay attention. I need to stop this and pay attention to my husband, right? And so it's it's those little things like that. So whatever
Yeah.
it is, my word for that is intentionality. Whatever that is, be intentional about your spouse. Pay attention to your spouse and make sure your spouse knows, above all other relationships, that relationship is private
absolute.
and key,
It's number one.
even above the
Yes.
children, above the grandchildren, and all those things, the other people, the church, ministry,
Business.
assignments, or whatever. Just, make sure that your spouse knows that they are the main thing. They're the main course. They're the main dish in the recipe, in the meal, right? And so, yeah, so you just got to make sure that they understand and know. I know that I am principal to my husband. I know that. He takes very good care of me, always has. And that was one of the things I knew, even as a friend, that he was going to be a good husband, because he was a good friend. He looked out for me as a friend, right? And so I know that he'll tell me, I'm putting your car in the shop. To him the other day, don't drive your car this week, drive my car, because I'm putting your car in the shop. Da, 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 da. So that's another way of letting me know that I am important to him.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure I'm good, that my car's running well,
Mhm.
I'm safe when I'm out there. It's all of those things. And the same thing with him. I want to make sure he's good, that he's eating well, that he's working out, taking care of himself, that he's not
Yeah.
overworking, and putting in the necessary boundaries to get some rest. Sometimes I'll tell him, you're doing too much. You need to rest,
Yeah.
because he can get up and be gone, 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 gone. And I'm like, no, slow down. And it's not even so much that I need him up under me, but I need
Right.
him to be here.
Yeah.
I don't want him to wear himself out. So those kind of things. So just being intentional, and that whatever your spouse's love language is, learn your spouse's love language. Some people it's acts of service. Y'all know
Mhm.
this. Some
Yes.
people it's
Words of
words of
affirmation,
information,
gift giving,
gifts and things like that. And so just know your spouse, and
quality
those things
time.
can change too. So don't get stuck
Not
in,
just can, they do change.
they do change, right? So don't get stuck. Well, that's his love language. Well, that's why I say check in, because we
Yeah.
change, we evolve, right?
Mhm.
We evolve.
We've had several pastors and vicars on the show with their wives. I want to go a little bit back to ministry with both of you, because both of you have, as Kiran said, you guys major platforms.
Yeah.
Bishop, you're a presiding prelate over an organization, and you have a successful church. How, not really how, what would you tell young pastors that are married and they're new in the ministry? Because we had a pastor on that's very new in being a pastor,
Yeah.
to really make sure they harmonize their lives, they prioritize their family. Because when you're first becoming a pastor, you want to do a good job. You're at the church all the time, but you want to make sure you protect your marriage. What advice would you give to those people? Because that's a very specific audience, pastors and their wives, or bishops, elders, apostles. What would you tell them about protecting their families?
Make their family first. Part of Jesus Jesus said, the Bible says, husbands, love your wives as
Yeah.
Christ loved the church. Wives, love your husbands. Uh, and then Jesus said, if you love me, feed my sheep.
Yes.
Part of the problem in the contemporary church is that too often pastors feed their wives and love the church rather than love their wives and feed the church. So the idea of prioritizing and understanding who is the most important person. And if the wife is the pastor, then her husband is the most important priority in the relationship. If the husband is the pastor, then the wife is the most important priority. And just that advice in and of itself, I knew marrying someone that was called to ministry, and not just called to ministry and music ministry, which is very important, very necessary, but also just had ministry of all sorts. She counsels, she coaches, she sings, she administrates, she preaches, she pastors and shepherds. So being married to somebody that fully orbed in ministry, part of my marital responsibility is to cultivate, to nurture, to make room for, to understand the platform, and that's a dance that is ongoing. You know, we're in the middle of a $1 million plus renovation of our campus, and she's responsible. She's in charge of the renovation. And so I'm kind of the go along. I'm just kind of rubber stamping everything and making sure my biggest thing, I got to raise the money. And so my biggest thing is don't spend up all the money. Don't spend up all the money. I just yelling in the meeting, don't spend up all the money. But she's leading the effort. The contractors have to go through her. The decorating committees have to go through her. The internal general contractors that are deacon and elder in our church, they have to report to her. The business office has to report to her. It's not my project. I mean, it's the house that Alvarado built, but at the same time, she led the effort, and so I've positioned myself where that's concerned to make room for her leadership gifts to emerge where that's concerned, and in some ways subordinate myself to those things. Now, of course, in the dynamism of our hierarchy, I get the last say if there's a conflict, if there's a disagreement, if there's that's just you got to have the buck has to stop somewhere. But at the same time, I mean, I've relinquished a whole lot of the decision-making authority, and part of that is my personality. Part of my personality is that the important things to me are this over here: preaching, teaching, the Bible, theology, ecclesiology, how the church operates, that kind of thing. This other stuff is just to me window dressing. It's ornamentation. But I'm come to discover how important all these things are, being married to somebody who does them expertly. So I say these things to say that for a young pastor, I would.
Can I jump
Let
in?
me make this. Let me just
Okay.
bring a period here, and then I'll turn it over. And that is to say, prioritize your spouse and make room in the ministry for whatever the spouse's gifts are to be able to in a shared way. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so, and I agree with you, but I think what another thing that I would add to that is I think all pastors, male, female, pastors in couples in ministry, people in ministry in general, but particularly pastors, understand that you are more than a pastor. I think that part of the challenge is many people go into ministry looking for ministry to be some type of medication. They go into ministry looking for validation or things like that. So I say do the work of healing, making sure that you're in ministry for the right reasons, and that you are not using ministry as your only space or source of identification or identity, right? So I'm not just a pastor, I'm a woman first, right? I'm a wife, I'm a mother. And when you look, that's the whole harmony wheel. When we look at the harmony wheel, there are different aspects. So pastoring is just one aspect of who I am. It's not the end all be all. And so it's the principal gift, it's my vocation, yes. But all these other things are part of who I am. And if I don't pay attention to those areas, i.e., my marriage, my family, my finances, my health, whatever,
Yes.
then I'm going to be an impoverished pastor.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
I think that being whole and holistic about the way we pastor is important,
Sure.
because then you
That's
then you
good.
can step back when you need to step back. You can release control when you need to release control. You can delegate tasks, and you can move, raise up other leaders. One strategy for young pastors: raise up leaders. Don't try to do it all.
Yeah.
You cannot do it all. You need other people on your team. And I would say one of the saving graces of our marriage is that we have always believed in raising up leaders in
Yes.
our church, so that we don't have to do everything. So everything I don't have to do everything.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
can be away and the church is taken care of, right? I can be
Yeah.
on a date with my husband and things are going on. I can let other leaders run stuff, right? Yes, the buck stops with the pastor. In some settings, it ain't even don't even stop with the pastor. It could be the trustee board. I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
in our
Mm-hmm.
context, it's
Right.
it's more in our free church tradition, or what
Yeah.
you call it, where you're an establishmentarian of the church. But some people have to get stuff rubber stamped by a board or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's not our context.
Mm-mm.
But when you pay attention to the holistic approach to your life and recognize that you have to be healthy spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, relationally. And if you are married, your marriage is certainly central to that.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
But
central.
that's oftentimes more difficult a reality for men than it is for women. We
Mm.
are sociologically oriented to
Mhm.
derive our sense of self through
Yeah.
what we do. You can be in a conversation with a guy for 5 minutes on an airplane. You sit down next to a guy. Hey, so do you have, hey, I'm Jonathan. Hey, I'm Fred. And it's in 5 minutes, that conversation, this question is going to come out. So, Fred, what do you do?
Right. Mhm. That's
Well,
true.
women, I mean, I've heard Dr. Edwin Lewis Cole say it like this: when God created Adam, he gave him a job. When God created Eve, he gave her a husband.
Mm.
Men are created uniquely with respect to productivity, whereas women are created uniquely with respect to relationship. So that idea of
That's
whole
good.
relational dynamic is much more germane to the feminine personality than it is to the male personality, and that idea of productivity as a mark of isness, a sense of self. My
Yeah.
father, Bishop Scales, always says that part of the challenge is that we have turned ministry, particularly, from human beings into human doings.
Mhm.
And we no longer are essentially ministers, our
Mhm.
essence, called to serve God with the whole of our lives. But we are doing ministries. We cease to be human beings and we become human doing.
And
And
then
so that
go ahead, Bishop. I'm sorry.
that just takes a particular intentionality to be able to work through and to not be caught up in that quagmire along the
Mhm.
lines. That's all I was going to say.
When you were talking about being human beings versus human doings, one of my books that I'm reading right now is Trisha Hershey's Rest is Resistance.
Resistance, yeah.
And one of the things she talks about is how we have turned even our approach to ministry is based in a capitalistic productivity
You better believe it.
um um ethos,
Oriented
or we've been
ethos.
oriented that being busy is what makes us valuable. Being doing and constantly putting out and all that is what substantiates our ministry. And so a lot of times, even when we pastor, we don't, it's not that some people are not even concerned about souls, it's how they look as a pastor. So I gotta
Yeah.
have the accoutrements of ministry. I gotta have a certain number of people. I gotta be doing
Yeah.
this, and you're wearing yourself out trying to do
Mhm.
what the church around the corner is doing, or what the preacher around the corner is doing, or whatever, rather than gleaning in your own field, understanding when it's time for you to work and when it's time for you to rest, when you and your spouse
Yes.
need to get away, when y'all need to spend time with each other, when you just need to be at home resting, or
Mhm.
whatever, spending time with your children. all those things are important. And if you're going
Yes.
to be a success at marriage, you need to prioritize those kind of things and step back from for a minute and examine the way you're doing ministry. It's not the ministry that's killing us. It's the way we do it that kills us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
think that
good.
we cannot say enough about that whole corporatization and
Mhm.
capitalism ethos that has so permeated, carcinogenically permeated ministry in the 21st century. It's just, it is
And it's a threat through our whole society, right? Everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And ministry is not exempt. It's we have drank that Kool-Aid, right?
That's true.
Mhm.
And it's in
Mhm.
every profession, right? It's
Yeah.
all through our society.
Yeah, and
Ministry is not exempt.
I don't want to delineate, I don't want to dilute the notion that we're talking about young couples in ministry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stay away from that. Don't worry. Okay, it is in every other sector of society, but
Mhm.
this is important for where you
Yeah.
are.
Exactly.
Ministry is not corporate. We've pumped all these corporate principles into running a church and baptized them in a couple of scriptures and called that operating in kingdom or operating in excellence. The devil is a lie. That's operating in corporate America. It comes out of the Enlightenment.
Mm.
My son, Pastor Michael Young, I'm supervising his doctoral work, his writing on what spirit-filled leadership looks like. And he's railing against the corporatization of the American church. So, and I think it's important that we understand that dynamic, young preacher. Don't enter into the pulpit so aspirational for a certain look of ministry that you chase every mirage and run to everything that you think is going to give you the next platform, to the
Mhm.
neglect of your own soul, to the neglect of the people that you're leading. Somewhere in there, somebody's got to be John the Baptist. When Darius Daniels, when it was in conversation with Jamal Bryant, Darius Daniels talked about nobody wants the ministry role that says, I must decrease.
Mm.
That's John's ministry.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there, in order for Christ's ministry to go forward, some of
Yeah.
us need to decrease because the jackasses are trying to increase. And
Yeah.
then their jackassery is what is being promulgated as Christian ministry, and it diminishes all of us
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes.
and hurt
Yes.
families. You'll see there's a direct correlation between people that are so aspirational in ministry and their families are jacked up too.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
a
Yes.
direct
Yes.
correlation.
Don't like them.
Yes.
Kids don't want to have anything to do with church or
That's
ministry
Mhm.
exactly.
or anything
Mhm.
like that. So yeah, but
Mhm.
I just think we have to examine our motives. We have to examine the way we do ministry.
I agree
Yeah.
with you wholeheartedly.
When you recognize that your value is not just in that, then you can step back when you need to.
Yes. Besties out there, I hope you all are taking notes because Bishop and Dr. Toni are dropping the gems on us. For those that are in ministry and those that are just married, you might not even be in ministry. But the gems and the advice that they are providing to us, make sure that you all are taking notes. It's not about balancing your marriage. It's about harmonizing your life together. I love that right there. But as we get ready to wrap up our show for today, we just have just two more questions that we want to ask you all. It's a part of our signature questions for this series of love and marriage. So this is for the both of you all. Throughout these 30 years of marriage, I know you all have learned many, many lessons. But from each of you all, if you all can share with us one of the greatest or biggest lessons that you all have learned, just being married.
That's a lot. The whole idea, the marital enterprise is one of lifelong learning.
Yeah.
So the lessons that I've learned along
Yeah.
the way. I guess the primary lesson, and I guess get by implication the question, the lesson
Mhm.
perhaps that I've learned from my spouse. Being married, the lesson I've learned being married translates to the lesson I learned from my spouse, because I wouldn't have learned that lesson had I not had a spouse. And that is, Pastor Toni says it to couples all the time, but it is the truth in our marriage. Friends make the best spouses.
I believe that.
At the end of the day, she is my love. She's my dove. She is my sister. She's my spouse. She is my friend. She is
Yes.
my undefiled one. She is the mother of all my children and the keeper of my secret things. This is my friend because a friend loves at all times.
Yes.
And I would say my lesson is we're better together. Yeah. One can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. Two is better
Yes.
than one, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. So thus, let's stay together.
Yeah.
I love that. And our last question is very, very simple for both of you. So, Dr. Toni, if you was to describe Bishop in one word, and Bishop, if you was to describe Dr. Toni in one word, what would that be?
In one word, if I was to describe Bishop, it would probably be dedicated.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
he's that way about anything he's doing.
What about you, Bishop Alvarado?
Really? I mean,
I know it's a one word.
You better come up with the right word.
that's my problem. See, you see where I am with this. I mean, goodness gracious. I'm married to a woman of superior talent, of inexhaustible love and commitment. That's the word. That's the word. Commitment. Committed.
Yeah.
And committed for me is a stronger word than dedicated. I'm not competing with her word. I'm
Right.
just defining the two. I had bacon and eggs for breakfast this morning. The chicken that gave the egg was dedicated. That's me. But the pig that gave the bacon was committed
Was committed. Yeah.
because they had to die.
Yeah.
I love that.
Pastor Tony, there's everything about her when she does something, including and especially marriage, ministry, family, harmonize your life,
Yes.
network, self-care, exercise. She is committed to it.
That's good.
It is. And both of your words are so connected. I just love that. I love that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Dr. Toni and Bishop Alvarado, we thank you all for coming on and sharing with us on today concerning your love story and your journey and marriage and ministry and harmonizing life together.
You got that.
I have to continue to say that.
You
I'm gonna
got
tell my
to.
husband that
You
as
have
soon
to
as I
say
get
it.
out, we're harmonized. We're not balancing, we're harmonizing our life together. Couples out there, you have to make sure, and it's funny because Irene and I actually just did a quick bestie talking about making sure that our spouses are number one. So husbands, wives, you have to make sure that your spouse is number one. You want them to know that. Not it just can't be in your mind. You have to be able to show them that they are number one. Put the phones down because I'm good for having a phone right here and he could be standing right. Put the phones down, turn off the TV, and turn your attention to your husband and your wife. Let them know that, hey, you have all of my time. These next 30 minutes before I get ready to go to bed, you have all of my time. You have all of my
Oh
time.
my God.
So again, we thank you all for coming on. And if you all do not have their book, make sure that you can go to where can they actually get your books from?
On our
Dr. Toni Bishop.
on our websites.
Okay.
Go to drtonyalvarado.com. Our books are there.
Okay.
And jonathanalvarado.com. You can get his book is on his website as well, right, Bishop?
I don't think any of my books are. Go to Amazon. I'm sorry if y'all are boycotting Amazon right now, but you can get both of our books on Amazon, I know. And
Okay.
you can get relationship strategies for successful marriages. And Pastor Tony has got 4 other books right now.
All of mine are on my website,
Yeah.
Dr.
And
Toni.
so all those on her website, including our marriage book.
Okay.
And then
Mhm.
my book is on Amazon as well. And but that's a theological book. It's not what we're talking about.
But all of your social medias,
Yes.
our description box, and so people can find you and
Yeah.
follow you. Both of you guys travel all over the world. You're very
Yes, you
successful
do.
entrepreneurs. And Bishop and Dr. Tony, I want everybody to join the Grace Communion of Churches.
So do I.
I want every church to be a part. So we'll definitely put all the information in the description box so they can find you and follow you any and everywhere.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. And again, we thank you all for being on here. And besties out there, we thank you all for joining. Make sure that you share this podcast with all of your friends, couples that are married and those that are inspiring to be married. Make sure that you share this with them. So until next time, besties, we thank you all for joining us. Bye-bye, you all.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.